Good day, my name is John Olisa. As you know, I'm a realtor and I'm the CEO of Red Diamonds Property Limited. I'll be continuing my series, which I started some months ago, on what differentiates the rich from the poor. In my last podcast, which is available here on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, I shared about 6 things. Today, I want to share 6 more things that differentiate the rich from the poor. And why do I do this series? Because I tell myself one of the reasons why I'm a realtor is because I want to be wealthy. And I've come to say wealth comes through different means. Wealth can come from real estate, wealth can come from stocks, you can become wealthy through agriculture, you can become wealthy through cryptocurrency. But there are certain principles that guide wealth in every way. And these principles have no respect for race, have no respect for culture, have no respect for family background. If you adhere to these principles, you will see the result. So the next thing, or the first thing I would like to talk about today that differentiates the rich from the poor is that the rich people spend time with successful people while the poor don't. You see, your life will go in the direction of those you are closest to. Your life will go in the direction of those you are closest to. So I've seen it's as though the rich have cliques. They love to stay around other rich people. Someone said if you're a poor person and you're among 5 rich people, you're wrong to call yourself poor. You are the 6th rich people. You are the 6th rich person, rather. So you see, the rich like staying around other rich people. Why do they stay around them? Because of the positive vibes the wealthy people give to them. It's beyond the mere cliche that birds of a feather flock together. It's actually true. So when the rich stay around other wealthy people, they share ideas on how to attain more wealth, retain it, and multiply it. While the poor stay among themselves. You see, you need to know it's possible to break out of the poverty line by trying to get close to the rich. Even if you cannot access them physically, you can access them through their books, through their videos, through their podcasts. You may think you do not have money to access the rich. You can access the rich by rendering them service with excellence. Rendering them service with excellence. So this is one thing that differentiates the rich from the poor. The rich love to stay among the rich people or successful people while the poor stay among the poor. The poor are too proud to associate with the rich. They just hate reality people. And it is surprising that what they hate openly, they secretly desire. I've come to see you cannot attract good things to your life that you secretly desire but openly despise. So this is one thing that differentiates the rich from the poor. And why am I doing this teaching? So that you can take up this habit of the wealthy, even though you might be in the middle income class or low income class, take up these habits and start practicing it. Because you see, wealth acquisition, retention, and multiplication is a journey. Right? It's a series of steps you take over days, weeks, months, and years that accumulate into the wealth you want. And it keeps going. So these are habits you should start cultivating. I'm sharing with you ingredients for wealth, just like a pot of soup that is made up of different ingredients. It's these little habits I'm sharing with you that when you practice all together, they will make sense and you will have the wealth you want. So I'm going through my notes and I'm going to be sharing the next thing that differentiates the rich from the poor, which is that the rich are good time managers. The rich are good time managers. I want to share a quote by Robert Kiyosaki. He said, the only difference between a rich person and a poor person is how they use their time. You see, the rich place so much value on their time. They know that time lost can never be regained. And they won't place so much more value on time above money because they realize that money that is lost can be regained. When we see the net worth of some wealthy people go down in a year, it comes back. But they know that time, once lost, can never be regained. Have you ever wondered why we call the length of somebody's years his or her lifetime? Because your life is calculated in time. Your life is calculated in time. Time lost can never be regained. So that's why sometimes a wealthy man has a private jet. You think it's just for luxury. It's not for luxury. A wealthy man wants to travel, let's say from Nigeria to Australia. He knows the time he would have been lost if he uses commercial flights with connecting stoppages. You rather want to go straight. While the poor person will be like, oh, the person is being flamboyant, that rich man is flamboyant. No, it's not about that. They place so much value on time. That's why a rich man would rather pay, if he can afford the private jet, to sometimes he will travel by plane rather than going by road, because they place so much value on their time. The poor have no respect for time. In Africa, there is a saying for being tardy, being late to event. We call it African time. So a meeting or conference or whatever it is that to start at a certain time, let's say 8 a.m., people say, oh, African time, 8:30. It's reflective of poor people who do not have value for that time. So because they do not value their time, they also do not value the time of other people. They come for program lists, they do not keep to time. But the wealthy keep to time. So this, let me just reiterate that another difference between the rich and poor is that the rich place so much value on their time, while the poor do not place value on their time. The third difference between the rich and the poor is that the rich see problems as opportunities, while the poor see problems as obstacles. Someone said that we all look, but we see differently. At the beginning of the 20th century, when automobiles came sort of into existence, we have the Fords and the like. And over the decades, we've had gasoline-driven cars or gasoline-powered cars. But in recent times, there have been calls for changing to electric vehicle premised on global warming, climate change, and the likes. And rather than for the wealthy to see this as an obstacle, they've seen it as a business opportunity. Elon Musk, for example, CEO of Tesla, transitioning to electric vehicles. They are seeing the problem as an opportunity for wealth. So you see, that's the difference. The wealthy love problems because they know the opportunities for wealth, while the poor see problems as obstacles. They keep complaining, grumbling, expecting the government to solve. Every person who is wealthy became wealthy by solving a problem, by adding value to society. So this is another difference between the rich and the poor. The rich see problems as opportunities for wealth, while the poor see problems as mere obstacles. That's the third. I'll be sharing 6 of them, and I would like to go to the fourth one. The fourth difference between the rich and the poor is this. The rich set financial goals for themselves on a yearly basis. It can be for 10 years, while the poor do not set goals. There is a saying that if you do not know where you are going, everywhere you arrive at will seem like your destination. If you do not know where you are going, everywhere you arrive at will seem like your destination. So the rich set goals for themselves. Whether daily goals, whether weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals. Because it is said that when you set goals, especially when they are written, there is a higher likelihood of you fulfilling it. So you see, what is not measured cannot be attained. So the rich set goals for themselves. So I'd like to share with you a goal set by Tony Robbins, one of the top CEOs in the US. He said in 2016, when they asked him for his goals, he said 2 of my primary financial goals of 2016 are 1, to break our Feeding America 100 million meals contribution marker in order to provide relief for those in need, and 2, to provide fresh, clean water for some 250,000 people in India, where 1.5 million die each year of water and sanitation diseases. There's power in goals. For me, in my 2023, my goal was to increase my net worth to 1 million naira. And I set out for it. Almost everything I did was channeled towards that. And I achieved it. Now, to someone watching may be like, oh, what's 1 million naira? That's small. But for me, it was a goal for me to increase my assets to 1 million naira. And I achieved it. So you need to set goals for yourself. The poor do not set goals. They just wish. The poor walk by luck. They walk by hope. Mere hope. They just wish. And I've never seen anybody who became wealthy by just wishing to be wealthy. Yes, hope is an indispensable ingredient in the journey to wealth, hoping for things to become good. But there's that act of being deliberate about setting goals. The poor just leave their life to chance. And somebody said, if you leave your life to chance, you'll be chanced. So the rich set goals for themselves, the poor do not. So today, start setting goals for yourself. Set goals for yourself, for your finances, for different areas of your life. And make deliberate and conscious effort to reach those goals. The fifth thing that distinguishes or differentiates the rich from the poor is that the rich buy assets while the poor buy liabilities. Now, the basic definition of an asset, in my opinion, is this: anything that brings you income or anything that brings you money. While a liability is anything that takes money from you. So many times the poor buy some things thinking they're assets, meanwhile they are liabilities. So the rich buy assets while the poor buy liabilities. So for instance, a house in itself could be an asset, could be a liability. But a poor person will buy the house on mortgage and live in it and be paying monthly mortgage or even yearly. And he has been sold the lie the house is an asset. But even though it's an asset, it's not to you, it is to the person who gave you the loan, the mortgage loan, to get the house. Because you are paying monthly mortgage. So you who is living there is not an asset, it's a liability. But you see, for a wealthy person who is starting up, you will get a mortgage, get a house, rather than live in the house, rent it out. So let's say, for instance, the house, his mortgage payment per month is $2,000. He rents it out and gets maybe $3,000 in monthly rent. You see, that house is now really an asset because he pays $2,000 for the mortgage and gets $1,000 as income for the month. So the rich buy assets, the poor buy liabilities. Also, the same thing with a car. The rich will buy a car, maybe use it for business, but the poor will buy and use it for luxury. You see, the way the rich think is that before they buy some things, they must have an asset of theirs that will pay for it. So you see, while a poor man can take a loan to buy a $400,000 luxury vehicle, a rich man will not do that. And this leads me to the next point that differentiates the rich from the poor. The rich delay gratification while the poor do not delay gratification. So delayed gratification has to do with not giving in to instant pleasure, even though you can afford it, all for the purpose of getting something better and greater tomorrow. So the rich, while they are building their wealth, they refrain from buying luxuries. They refrain from buying luxury. They are building their wealth. The poor might have bought vehicles and are showing flashy stuff, but the rich delay gratification. They are building their wealth from step to step. But the poor person can take a loan, buy a vehicle, using it. Now, the car would have been an asset if he was using it for commercial purposes, bringing in income. But they are driving a car. The poor do not know that many times the car is a depreciating commodity. Because 5 years from now, even a year later, a new version is out. You see, once you take a vehicle out of the car or the showroom, and as mileage starts going, its value starts reducing. But the rich will delay gratification. They won't buy everything now. They'll rather grow their wealth to a level where the passive income from their assets is paying for their luxuries. But the poor do not know that. They just keep buying liabilities. They do not practice delayed gratification. This is why I'll be bringing a close to my discussion today, talking about 6 things that differentiate the rich from the poor. In my subsequent podcast, I'm going to share the remaining of them. There are so many of them, but I've written on 17 of them. In conclusion, the journey to wealth is truly a journey. Many people who are wealthy today were not born wealthy. They were not born wealthy. They came from humble background. But by taking deliberate and conscious effort doing certain things, they got certain results. By taking deliberate and conscious effort doing certain things, they got certain results. So the rich set goals while the poor don't. The rich delay gratification while the poor don't. The rich are very particular in time management. The poor do not pay attention to that time. The rich are also very particular about how they relate with people, who they relate with. They work with the other rich people. The poor do not. The rich also see problems as opportunities for wealth. The poor do not. While the rich also spend so much time in pursuit of their goals. There is so much. And I just want to tell you, why should you desire to be wealthy? Wealth gives you the opportunities to pursue your goals in life. Wealth gives you the opportunity to add value to people. It has been said, two poor people cannot help themselves. Two poor people cannot help themselves. Irrespective of your background, irrespective of your religion, irrespective of your race, there are principles that if you apply them, you can become wealthy. I thank you so very much for tuning into today's Facebook Live. My name is John Olisa. I'm a realtor and I'm the CEO of Red Diamond Properties Limited. We're a real estate company in Nigeria, and we sell houses and lands in Abuja, Lagos, and Port Harcourt. You can follow me on my social media pages: Facebook, John Olisa; YouTube, subscribe to my channel, John Olisa; Instagram, John Olisa; LinkedIn, John Olisa; X, that is formerly Twitter, John Olisa. You get valuable content from me. If there's anything I can assure you about, you will get valuable content from me that will make you wealthy through whatever means. Thank you so very much for joining me. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.